For today's activity, you want to make sure you have a piece of paper. It's nice if you had a piece of paper that's an 8.5 by 11 plain piece of paper, almost like a piece of copy paper. If you don't, all you have is a piece of notebook paper. That's perfectly fine. Notebook paper will work really well, as long as you also have some type of a heavier pen or a heavier marker. I'm going to be using a Sharpie for my example. Before we go into creating what we're going to do today, I'd like to kind of give an overview of the different measurement devices that we have in the shop and in the tech lab. First off, what you'll see in the shop is a bench ruler. This is a bench ruler. This happens to be a foot long. We have them all the way up to, we actually have a 5-foot bench ruler. Okay, so it's nice and heavy, holds up to quite a bit in the wood shop. This one here is divided into 8 equal pieces for every inch, and down here is divided into 16 equal pieces for every inch. So that's the bench ruler. We also have another ruler that's for general purpose, not precise at all. This is what you'll see in some classrooms. We have them in the CAD lab a little bit. We have standard here, and it's divided into 8 equal pieces. Well, the reason why I'm showing you this is it also has metric on the back side. So that is the general purpose ruler. We also have a precision ruler. I have one of these at my desk, and Mr. Bothan has one at his desk. We use it for real tight and precise measurements with a ruler. This is divided into 64 equal pieces. Also has a metric on the opposite side. But if we flip this around, this one will be divided into 32 equal pieces. We have one more device that looks a lot like a ruler, but it's not a ruler. That's this device here. This is called a scale. And if you turn the scale until you see the trademark list here, that tells you a couple things. It tells you that it's an architect scale, and this is the full scale starting at 0 and ending in 12. And a lot of the rulers will show the division here, 16. So this is divided into 16 equal pieces. This is the only thing that's a real full scale standard fractional ruler. The rest of the scales are just that. We scale things down. For instance, if we would flip this and bring it over to this side, you have 0 here, and if you read the ruler from right to left, this is a 1/4 inch scale. Every 1/4 inch equals a foot. Okay, architect scale. Now that you have your piece of paper in front of you, we'll be able to break down what an inch is. If we look back at one of these rulers, you'll see 0 to 1, and all of these marks duplicate themselves all the way across here. So if we just concentrate on these marks here, we'll be able to understand the entire ruler, because it just repeats itself after every inch. Now we're going to say that this edge of the paper is 0 and this edge of the paper is 1. Now we need to get halfway, so let's go ahead and fold this in half. I'm going to open this up again, and now you see our paper is divided into 2 equal pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a ruler or a straight edge along here, and I want you to do the same thing. And I'm going to pick up my marker. I'm going to draw a line shorter than the entire length. Okay? If you want to use a pencil, you most certainly can. It's just for this purpose, you'll be able to see my example a little bit better. Now we have 1, 2 equal pieces. So that means that this location here is 1 of a total 2. Okay, so 1 of a total 2. Now that gives us the 1/2 inch mark. If you look closely at the ruler, we've made this mark right here. Okay, it's the longest mark between 0 and 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this to the center, the right to the center, and then the left to the center. After we've folded that, we're going to open it up and we're going to look at this. And now we've divided it into 4 equal pieces. We're going to draw another line, and this is in the unmarked crease. And we're going to draw these lines shorter than that 1/2 inch line. And I'm going to try to make this one exactly the same length as my previous one. So I do believe we stopped about right there. So now this one and this one are the exact same length. So you know that this is a 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1 of a total 4. So let's mark that. 1 out of a total 4. This would be the same as 2 of the total 4. And this would be 3 of the total 4. Okay? We can look at the ruler again and see that we just made this mark and this mark here. Now I want you to fold those back up and then fold it at the halfway line. And now we're going to fold it one more time. We're going to fold it flat like this. Fold it in half again. Okay. Now that we've folded it in half, if we open it up, we can see that it's divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 equal pieces. Now, before I draw a line across these, you may want to turn these creases backwards. Okay, turn that crease backwards so we can draw a nice straight line in there. And turn that backwards. So now we can put our straight edge here and draw a line right down that line. And we're going to go shorter than the 1/4 inch line. Shorter than the 1/4 inch line. Again, shorter than the 1/4 inch line. And as you can see, these lines do make a difference. Okay. Every time you stop at this length of line, it's going to be an 1/8. 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 over 8. This is 2 over 8, or 1/4. 3 over 8. 4 over 8. 5/8. 6/8. 7/8. Okay, so now we have everything divided into 8 equal parts. Okay, now we have one more step to go. We can divide each of these again. I'm not going to make you fold everything up again, but what I want you to do is I want you to be able to kind of make a guesstimate. So I'm going to take another color and I'm going to kind of guesstimate that spot. And you can draw that line. It's going to be shorter than the 1/8 inch line. So I'm trying to make this as straight as possible, even though we don't have a fold in front of us. I think we can make a pretty good line across here. So if you're ahead of me, great. I have a feeling that you're going to be labeling these before I'm done drawing my last line. That one is a little long. Okay, so my first one is 1/16, 1 over a total 16, because we've divided this into 16 equal pieces. 2 over 16, 3/16, 4/16, 5/16, 6/16, 7/16, 8/16, 9/16, 10/16, 11/16, 12/16, 13/16, 14/16, and 15/16. Now, let's take a look at this. Look at the different lengths of line, okay? So I'm going to bring this ruler up, and you'll notice that the longest one is a 1/2 inch, okay? So if we were to look at this space between here and here, that is 1/2 of an inch. And this is the other half. Now if we push this ruler up, and now we hit the next one, we can see that space right here is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can see those chunks. And then if we slide this up to the next one we hit, now we have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see those chunks, okay? And then same way with this. If we bring it all the way down, and all we see are the 16 equal spots. So that we can transfer this to the ruler. And if we look at that, if you start measuring, you have 1 inch, and if we're right here, look at that space right there, we can take our eye and go from here and stop at that 1/8. If we were here, bring our eye this way, stop at the 1/2. Or stop at the 1/4, 1/2, 1/8, and then 1/2, 3/4, and so on. Okay?